Hi guys, and welcome to Black Crow Gaming Reports. Something different for us all today.
Yeah.
Something interesting. Well, battle reports we're going to be changing to every sort of couple of weeks.
Bi-weekly.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, every now and then. We just want to change things up a little bit because it's been quite busy. We've got real life going on. We've got multiple things.
Yeah, but it's I say we love doing the battle reports, don't we?
Gotcha.
But we also just wanted to kind of give different aspects.
Yeah.
A bit of free advice if you want it or don't.
Take our information or not. But yeah, so this is going to be a beginner's guide or an intermediate guide or a people that want to try the first tournaments guide to 40k. So we're going to break things down literally from list building up to the end game. So we're going to just do sort of a mini series of a lot of things.
Yeah. So this is going to be the first episode, and it's going to be a long series.
Yes.
And as you say, we will be breaking lists down. We'll be breaking down the movement phase, deployments, screening, combat, shooting. And we're just going to do these little condensed episodes that will just break down all of these segments individually, and they'll all be in a nice little playlist, so you can always go back and reference to it if you want to. But also let us know if there's anything in particular, like little advanced rule things that people or interactions
if things have caught you out before.
Let us know. It is going to be quite a broad, just generalisation to start with.
Because we love this hobby. We want to bring people into this game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the easiest way of doing that is content like this. People can sit down, watch it, get some ideas. We're not going to tell you how to play 40k. No. We're just going to give you our advice on how we would go about doing it.
Yeah, we haven't won multiple GTs like some people like Manny's and the Alex Harrisons of the world. And we're just a local group that do quite well in our little area. And we just want to give back. We enjoy doing this. This is fun for us. So
exactly. And we love the community aspects, and obviously like our Discord and Facebook and getting to talk to people about ideas. So this is just a way of us being able to do the same thing, but expand it onto you guys on YouTube. So we're excited to do this.
Definitely.
It's something we've talked about for a little while. So today we will be talking right back to basics. Where your list build. So, if you are just starting out in this hobby, or you already have an army, but you don't know where to start with your list, we're going to give you our opinion on where we would normally start a list build. And then we might, later on in the episode, break it down more into, what play style you want to go for, or if a faction in particular you like, but how would you build a list for it? So,
and also different events have run different terrains,
which is huge,
massive. So you can't take the same list to different events because
I've had it happen to me. Like I've taken a list to like a UKTC event, went really well, like 4-on-1 or 3-on-2 or whatever, and then I take it to like a little local gaming store, which has got very poor terrain, and I get tabled in 2 games. I'm like, what is happening?
But I'm a 3-2, I know.
So we'll give you guys a bit of a breakdown. Now, list building. So just a general list build for me. When I start, as you guys know, we've got a lot of armies here. But my generic starting point is always, how can I score? How tough are my units? And what's my killing ability or denial ability? That's normally my sort of 3 main points for me in a list build.
Cool.
And that doesn't really matter what army it is. For me, I need to know I've got the speed or something that can score well. And I'm recycling that over turns. Obviously, objective ability. So normally, I know in this edition you don't have to take battle line units, but I do feel like if you need the OC, they're really useful.
Definitely.
And then if you can try and marry that up in the list to make them as tough and durable as possible, then great. And then killing ability. So whether that's in combat or range, I need something that I can punch down armor.
Definitely.
Of whatever, whether it's Terminators or tanks or, Horde, whatever. I need to know that I've got a good spread. So I normally try and build quite a balanced list. So in my lists, obviously I'm going to attach characters to units. I do love in 10th edition, especially, like the way I build lists from 9th edition is very different now.
Yeah, you can't build a 9th edition list.
No, which work. I think a lot of people, potentially you guys at home, have probably struggled with 10th because it is such a change from previous editions where you're not paying taxes to take units. So you just go, oh, look, I can take whatever I want. And then you go, I don't know what to take.
Yeah, there's too much choice.
There's almost too much choice of going, well, this unit's good, so I'll just take loads of that. And then you play test it and you go, well, why didn't it work?
Yeah.
So if I can try and keep a list very basic for me of just scoring, durability, speed, and being able to punch stuff, that is really a nice basic for me of what I expect from a list.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the major factors of building a list, and one we're always on about, what you like, take what you like.
Yeah, very true.
Because a person that masters their list that knows every unit in their army, knows all their rules, knows all their special little tricks they can do, will beat anyone that's trying to build a meta list.
Yeah, I mean, everyone can look at a codex and go, that unit's good, I'll just take as many as I can.
Of course.
Which is fine. I mean, if
that's your play,
it will work. But at the end of the day, if you've picked up a particular army because you enjoy that army, and because there's a unit in that army you want to play, run it. Yeah. Take it.
Absolutely.
Especially for like friendly and home games, just run whatever you want, really. But from like a going to an event point of view, sometimes you do have to flex a little bit if you want to try and do well.
Yes. Yeah.
But how would you go about starting a list?
It's interesting because I'm usually running the elves, which are a lot weaker in toughness.
Yeah.
So it's the same for me. It's speed, it's objective play, it's mission play, it's killing power. So with Jakari, it's my mandrakes.
Yeah.
How many mandrakes do I take? Yeah, up and down each game. Cabalites for sticky objectives. And then it's how many Dark Lancers can you fit into a list? How many boats do you need to transport your incubi, your Cabalites, your racks, your witches?
Yeah.
It's toughness. Because they're so weak on foot, you need the boats to survive.
Yeah.
But they're also not as strong, so you need multiple of those units to survive because one dies.
So you've got your waves.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes down to your play style, doesn't it? So it depends on the play style you want to go for. So Simon and I tend to go for quite a balanced list. And I think that's fair to say that we've always kind of done that.
Yeah.
We never really spike into anything too hard.
No. There's going to be units that will go, you have to take this.
But there's some list builds that people will take where they go, well, no, I'm just going full counter-offensive and I'm going to shove everything down your throat as quickly as possible and just try and table you.
Yeah.
And just go over the top on firepower, which is some people's plans.
Yeah.
And then that's not a problem.
No.
Or other people might just go, well, I'm just going to take loads of MSU.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just...
certainly more my style.
Yeah, and I'm just going to keep piling units in and scoring points, and whatever my opponent does, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is odd for me because actually, when I play Grey Knights, that's kind of my play style. Of I will just keep throwing units at stuff.
They've got the speed just
to score.
Yeah,
and then I don't care about what you're scoring.
Yeah,
I just need to stay ahead of you.
Yeah,
where like when I'm playing my Chaos Knights, I end up just spiking them into stuff and going, I'm just going to score as quickly as possible and see if you can deal with all this armor.
If you don't have enough
lancers. If you can't deal with my armor, then literally you're not scoring.
No.
Where the Grey Knights don't have the killing power, so I just need to keep the scoreboard higher than my opponent. So they normally be quite close games for me.
Yeah.
As you'll see, like the Steve game I played, that will be on stream last week.
Yeah.
Even though we're filming this the week before. Internet's confusing. But that game was really close. It's like 10 points in it.
Wow.
So, and that's purely because I'm like, I can't stop you from scoring.
Yeah.
I can't kill you fast enough for that. And then when it comes down to terrain, so if you're going to your first event,
you're probably your local friendly local gaming store.
It might be a friendly local gaming store. They might, if you've seen like UKTC terrain, like everything's very like the big events. It's all very set play now.
Yeah.
The maps.
It blocks foreign lanes, but you've got some aspects where you can draw a foreign lane, or there's some objectives that are open.
Exactly. So it's always really important. Like my advice would always be, if you're going to your first event, read the rules pack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at the terrain. Get an idea for the terrain maps as well.
Yeah.
And you can literally sit down with like a ruler if you want to, and you can like put it on their map and go, there's a firing line, there's a firing line, there's a firing line, or the opposite, and go, well, okay, whatever army you're taking, you go, right, the terrain is actually quite open. Yes. What do I need to take?
Yes. And also, some events, local stores won't have event packs. Or have mission, like they won't have terrain layouts. Yeah. So it's basically, if you go to your local store and you know they're doing events, you know what they're going to be, kind of terrain is going to be.
Yeah, because if it is your local gamer store, you probably play there most weeks anyway, so you've got a pretty good understanding of what the table terrain's like. Yeah. Which should just be a big advantage anyway if you're going. Yeah. But that also will help you then try and build your list.
Yes.
Because I would then go in my army. So if you've picked up an army. Well, whatever it is, you go, well, have I got the guns to deal with the open terrain?
Yeah.
If you have, great, just spike into trying to kill stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't, you then need to probably look at durability or speed.
Yeah.
Because you need to get around the table quickly to jump into a terrain, or at least try and flank your opponent, or just have the bit of durability like Wraiths, just to flood up the table and just go, try and kill me.
Yeah, I've got enough for you not doing it. Talos. That was my Talos spam back in 8th edition.
Yeah, if you can't kill me, then I'm just going to keep coming.
Yeah.
So that is kind of my advice on that.
Yeah.
But then if you are going to be going to like your first super major, like a UKTC event, again, you can kind of build into the lists.
Yeah.
There's lots of content out there on like the US maps with the GW terrain and stuff, and the reason their meta is so different to ours is because of the terrain.
The player place takes a massive change on a lot of things.
I'm
not a huge fan of player place, but that's a different.
That's another word. So I'm not trying to overload you guys at home, but the terrain I would say is probably like 50% of your list build, because it makes such a big impact on the whole game on what your list is doing.
Yeah.
But as I say, from a beginner's point of view, I'd always say just try and keep it quite balanced.
Yeah.
Have a bit of everything in there.
Can you score secondaries well? Do you have redundancies if your first attackers are being picked off? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have redundancies for your next mission play units to go and pick up? Can you kill a knight?
Basically, that's normally a good, or Land Raider.
Can you kill a knight or a Land Raider?
And if the answer is no, it doesn't mean you've auto lost the game.
No.
It just means that you're going to have a bit of a harder day.
Yeah, you need to figure out ways of getting around it. So can you tie it up in combat?
True.
Can you just avoid
it?
Can you surround it? Yeah, can you avoid it? Can you just go around it and take all the objectives?
But then it brings us back to speed, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like, have you just got the speed in your list just to go, I don't need to interact with this?
No, exactly.
And just stay the hell away from it.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to catch you.
No.
I think keep it balanced. Really just focus on how you want to move forward. I would always say speed is probably a huge part of 10th.
Yeah.
Like it really is.
Because in some of the GW layouts, there is very, very open lanes, especially from going from cover to an objective. There might be a point where if you cut out in that open, you're just going to get shredded. So you need to have that. The Reavers will take 14-inch moves. It's like, right, okay, I know I can go touch a home objective.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fairly safe. So it's knowing your units, knowing your army. And that comes down to list building, is knowing your army.
Yeah.
Have something you enjoy.
But then, as you say, and even if you don't like it, if you're picking up a new army, so say, for example, you've been playing, I don't know, Tau for years.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, World Eaters look really good right now.
That's completely different playstyle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
you've gone from a gun line.
Completely different army.
Yeah.
So then you've got to look at it and go, I don't have guns.
No.
They don't exist. Don't even bother trying to put them in. Like, I know a few people have been trying.
Your shooting phases are very, very quick.
Yeah, I know a few people have been experimenting with Forge Fiends in World Eaters. But I'm like,
skulls.
But my World Eaters, I'm like, bollocks to that. I don't need guns.
No.
I'm literally just not going to even bother putting any anti-tank in there because...
Your anti-tank is your combat.
Yeah, but that's then where you've got to look at your list and go, right, so how do I deal with armor in combat?
Yeah.
So then you're going to have to be looking at like your Exalted 8-bound.
Yeah.
Because they're like strength 14 on the Chain Fist.
Yeah.
So then you go, right, that's my anti-tank.
Yeah.
How do I then deliver that to my opponent?
You need a delivery system for it. And that comes with your enhancements, with your dice rolls, so you can get your +2 inch movement.
Exactly. So then when you're building that list, especially a combat list, you go, right, well now actually I need to think about potentially taking transports.
Yeah.
So you can leapfrog out of them.
Yeah.
Or like, for example, the 8-bound, or even if you're playing like Blood Angels, well, actually, your Death Company are moving 12 inches anyway.
Yeah.
So they're bloody quick.
Yeah.
So you go, well, actually, I've got the speed to then stage into buildings to get where I need to be.
Yes.
That will then change how you build that list. Because then you're going, well, a balanced list doesn't really work now.
No.
I need to now start spiking certain aspects of my army to make it more effective when it gets there.
Yeah.
So then you're looking at, like you were saying, multi-layering.
Yeah.
And having waves of attack.
Yeah.
So when I build like a World Eater or combat list, I tend to try and have like at least 2, if I can, 3 waves of attack.
Yeah.
So I can go, right, great, I'll send my Berserkers out, for example.
Soften it
up, loads of OC, flood the midboard, and then they're going to die.
Yeah.
They're not very tough.
No.
But then it's followed up with like Exalted 8-bound.
Yes.
That I've probably bought in from Deep Strike and whatever, and then they're just flooding in from the flanks.
Yeah.
So that's a very different way of building the list, because you've got to go, well, what are my turns doing?
Yeah.
But then if you're playing like a gun line, whether it's Marines or Tau or whatever, you're going, well, I don't need to worry about transports and stuff so much.
No.
Because all of my stuff is big guns. So then you're thinking, right, I need to screen now.
Yeah.
So you're doing the opposite.
Yeah.
You're thinking, well, now I need to screen my guns so they don't get hurt. And what we mean by screening is taking effectively cheap units.
Yeah.
Like, with your Marines, you might take scouts.
Yeah. Bujacaris, Mandrakes.
Yeah, Chaos would be like Nurglings.
Yeah.
And you're using those really cheap units to literally stand in front of your army.
Yeah.
To block stuff out, to stop it from getting to your guns.
Yes.
So
again, the more turns you have activating those guns, the more likely you are to win that game.
Exactly.
Because you've picked off their target.
Yeah. And and then if, for example, if you are playing the guy who's got the combat army, you're stopping him from flooding into your good stuff and just letting him kill the chaff.
Yeah.
So again, it's a very different way of building a list based on the army that you're running. So again, like my advice there would be, you take your screening units. If they happen to have good OC as well, bonus.
Yeah.
But then you can sort of then push them up onto the midboard to then help your guns and stuff come up a bit slower potentially.
Yeah. When it comes to the gameplay, you're potentially going to be losing the first 2 turns because you're going to be sat back.
Yeah.
By turns 3, 4, 5, once you've whittled down those units that are coming into you.
This is exactly it.
You're
like most savvy players will then go, well, you got those guns, and set the hell away from them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get shot by them. So then actually you're probably not shooting anything turn 1 anyway.
Yeah. And again, that ties back into terrain, you understanding the terrain of your event you're going to.
So then you go, well, actually, if there is a lot of terrain, I'm using a gun army, I need speed.
Yeah.
So then you've got to look at aspects of that.
Yeah.
Fortunately, if you're playing like knights, well, luckily, most of the stuff moves like 8 to 12 inches anyway.
Yeah.
So you can get angles on stuff quite easily. There's a lot of debate at the moment whether you, for example, Chaos Knights, whether you run like 13 baby knights.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Or what I tend to do is I'll run 11, but then I'll take like Nurglings and stuff.
Yes.
So I've got screening and scoring abilities with really cheap units.
Yes, just throw them away.
Yeah, just throw away units. And that's how I tend to build a list. Because I do like to have just cheap stuff for, i.e. screening, scoring, just chaff, basically.
Yeah.
And I think in 10th, that's become more prevalent than any other edition.
Yeah, because you don't want to be sending back a knight to do investigate signals when you have a Nurgling that can just deep strike into a corner.
So for me, that's a big change from editions as well. So if you're sat at home going, I can't build a list for 10th, I don't know why, but you've been playing for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's because the game's changed.
Yeah, it's not the same edition. It's not the same game at all.
Like, you wouldn't have seen that in 9th edition.
No.
You wouldn't have gone to an event and people have just got like 5 or 6 cheap as possible units with nothing on them.
Yeah.
Because they were just no good in those editions. Where now it's like, well, actually, the way the game's played when it comes down to like the mission play, and we will do an episode based on missions as well. Yeah. And just literally how to interact with missions.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're rambling a little bit. But
going on the mission side of it, going through building a list, you're going to be looking at the rules pack as well, which will have the missions on it.
Yeah, pretty much every event will always have the mission pack, which is, again, like you say, when you're looking at building a list, if you're playing, God forbid you have this in the event, but like servo skulls, it's a horrible mission.
Yeah.
But again, you need to be pushing that objective up the board.
Yeah.
But so you need something that's cheap enough, but that won't die.
Yeah.
So whether you just use loads of cheap units that keep dying, but you can keep jumping onto it and moving it, or you just take a really tough unit that can do it, that you can just keep trudging up the board. Yeah. So that does come into a factor for me.
Like Sights of Power, one of those ones that comes up every now and then. You need characters.
Yeah, which I struggled with at a recent event because I only had one character. Yeah. And I'm like, balls. Yeah. Like I'm in trouble.
That one objective is going to get empowered. The rest of them are going to be held by little things.
And so luckily I still won that game, but I really struggled to play the mission. But I was at a GT, so it was one game. I'm like, I just have to sacrifice this one game scoring abilities because I've got no choice. Yeah. I can't build a whole list around that one mission.
No, of course you can't.
So,
that's where different factions are better at doing certain missions than others.
Don't forget, when you're building a list, you're not always going to have it right for everything.
Of course you're not.
Or every matchup. No. There is matchups you just not that you can't win, but they're going to be hard.
Matchups will change outcomes, potentially change outcomes. It's learning your armies, knowing your faction. It comes down to list building.
Yeah.
How well have you built your list to be able to, have you understood it? Have you figured out every little detail, every little nuance? It's like knowing your secondaries. Knowing your stratagems.
Yes.
What stratagems I'm going to be using at different times.
Yeah, so the next thing for me is after you've sort of then built that list and you've played it for a while and then you might start tweaking it and whatever, it's then actually like the advanced side of list building is then actually learning what you might be coming up against. Yeah. So what's good in the meta right now?
Yeah. Necrons are doing well at the moment.
Don't get me wrong, we are starting to talk like top echelon like meta lists that are going to events. So a lot of the top players will start taking into basically the other top players.
Yes.
Because they know what the factions they're taking. But it works at your local hobby store as well. Because
there's always going to be that one player that's unbeaten at every local store.
Yeah, and so you'll go, well, he's always running Necrons.
Yeah. Now,
I'm not saying tailor lists. Like, that's not what we're saying here. No. What I'm saying is if you're going to an event and you know that, 70% of the field is going to be Necrons and Eldar, Blooding, whatever, and those are sort of the key factions that are going, or there's more of them represented than everything else, you then might start thinking, well, okay, at a guess, these Necron players are either going to be running monoliths, or they'll be running wraiths, or they'll be Catans. So then you go, okay, well, maybe if I just take one piece of tech in my army that will be really good at maybe dealing with Catans, for example. Yeah. Just a tech piece. It will help in other matchups.
Of course it will.
Like, for example, on my Grey Lights list right now, I'm taking a Grandmaster on foot. It's a standard Grandmaster. Purely because he will give that unit, ignores all modifiers.
Nice.
So, when you go into the Catan, it's, I don't know,
-1 damage.
Half damage.
Half damage, sorry, yeah.
For no pain, all that crap.
Yeah.
And they go, and then I'll make you -1 to hit and all the rest of it. I go, no.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Well, that Grandmaster and his Paladin friends are now going to hit you and you're not halving the damage.
Yeah.
And they go,
Yeah.
So, but that's one piece of tech gear that will really help in that matchup. But actually, it's still a great bit of tech gear because you'll run into other armies that have stealth and they're -1, or, sorry, it doesn't matter in combat, but they'll be able to do -1 to hit or -1 to wound.
Yeah.
And a lot of armies have stratagems for those abilities.
Yeah.
And you just go, I don't care.
Yeah.
I can ignore it.
Yeah.
So putting bits of smart tech into a list can really help in a matchup.
Yeah.
So that's something else I always kind of advise. Like you were saying earlier, sticky objectives.
Yeah.
It's a nice bit of gear to have.
It is fantastic.
So you just have a unit that, you sit on your home objective turn 1. Cool. Make it sticky, and now I can start pushing out.
Yeah.
Just little tech pieces in your list, I think, really help. And they won't work in every matchup.
No.
But they're not there to do that. They are there just to be when they are needed. And it's not like the old editions where you used to pay for all this equipment.
No, exactly. Yeah.
You know, you used to put all these enhancements and stuff on the characters and go, well, that's been useless for 4 games.
Yeah.
I've been paid like 30 points for it.
Yeah.
I haven't got that anymore. It's all baked in.
Yeah.
It's either free or it's just an ability they get.
Yeah.
So look at those nuances in your codex or index and go, well, what does this character bring to my gameplay?
Yeah. Does he bring something to the list?
Yeah, because you might sit there and go, well, I really love taking Wraiths.
Yeah.
For example, in your Necrons. I want to take as many Wraiths as possible. And then you go...
You'd be a horrible person, but you could do it.
And then you go, well, then I want to potentially take some characters.
Yeah.
What characters are going to benefit those Wraiths?
Yes.
And then you'd start looking at Chronomancers and Technomancers, and you go, well, this one gives them a feel no pain. That's really good. I'll stick that in there.
Yeah.
And that's when you start teching your list out. Yeah. So I think the final thoughts from myself would be, take what you want to take.
Yeah.
I always try and keep it quite balanced.
Yeah.
But take the units you want to be running and then look at what you can do to enhance those units.
Yeah.
Because you can take leaders and stuff now. And then before you know it, you've kind of filled your list out.
Yeah.
And then you might start thinking, well, I've still got some points left, so a couple of enhancements are really good.
Yep.
To, again, boost those units up.
Yep.
And then, to be fair, if I've got points left, I always try and find something cheap, screeny, that I don't need, that I can throw away.
Yeah.
That's normally how I finish my points off, if I've got stuff spare.
Yeah.
I won't go and find, like, delete units to make a bigger unit. I will literally go, I've got 90 points left over. What can I take? An assassin or some Nurglings or whatever.
Yeah.
And there'd be my little tech pieces that I can just throw around the board.
Yeah, secondary action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I tend to sort of build my lists.
Good.
You?
That's hopefully I'm going to try and beat you next time we play. Now we've got all your little tricks.
Everyone's at home and goes, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, take that knife. Yeah, same for me. It's, especially with Jakari and the Eldar, they are squishy. So it's been about the speed. It's about, especially Jakari, very, very good at getting up on points quicker.
Mm. Yeah, they're early game.
Yeah, we're an early scorer, so we need to do the damage. Essentially, it's the law of them. They go in, do the damage, and disappear. Yeah. Before they get taken or killed. So it's, it is about building speed for me. And I can take the Kronos, I can take the Talos, Grotesque, a bit resilience. But in certain matchups, they're not as good. It's for me, it's the MSU build. It's the minimum strength units, minimum size units, and just running multiple and just flooding the board.
Yeah, I think so if you are literally starting out, build your list, play it.
Yeah,
get a couple of games in with it. Don't tweak it too much to start with.
One change. I think you have to play at least 5 games with a list.
I think so,
and then do one change.
Matty has always said to me, like, the way he builds his lists is he will do about 1250 of a core of his army.
Yeah.
He goes 1250 points.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't change.
No.
He's like, that is my core of my army, what I want it to do.
Yeah.
And the other 750 over like 10, 15 games, that 750 points, he will move stuff around that he doesn't like. But then as he goes over the games, the number of points gets smaller.
Yeah.
Because he goes, well, actually, that unit was great. Yeah. They're staying.
Yeah.
So then you go up to 1,500 points.
Yeah.
And then he's got 500 points. He'll juggle a bit more.
Yeah.
And then before he knows it, he might be down to like a unit where he goes, now I might swap that for this. And then he'll just alternate 1 or 2 units until he's got the list where he wants it.
I really like that.
So I think that's a really good way of looking at it as well.
Yeah.
Grab your core of the list and then just tweak very small things. Don't go crazy. Don't just go, no, this list is crap. I'm not using it again.
Which we've all been guilty of.
Yeah. And then next week you bring an entirely different list.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. That could work. I mean, maybe it was a bad list.
I've rocked up to events with a list I've never played before. I'm going, I did like the last one. I'm taking this. Oh, well.
I hated myself a few years ago. I went to an event a week before LGT.
Yeah.
And I had I had to put the list submissions in for both events at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
And I did it, and I went to the GT the week before and went, I hate this list, and I dropped from LGT. So I was like, I'm not driving to London to go and play that fucking list. It's awful.
Yeah.
So it does happen, but don't get disheartened by it.
No.
List building is a big part, but at the same time, it's almost the fun part.
Yeah.
Like we've been strategizing with the new Tau Codex. And we've been sorting out ideas for that for the ITT.
Yeah.
And like we're getting excited about list building.
Because it's something we haven't done. It's all well and good. I love Magikari, I love Mealda, but
I'm not giving you any secrets at the moment.
No, God, no.
We've got a naughty plan.
Yeah. Hopefully. In theory, it sounds quite good. But
in theory, yeah.
We're going to play it and go, oh, it's terrible.
So, yeah, we're in the same boat as you guys. We've got a new faction we haven't played.
Yes.
We're trying a new codex we have not a lot of information on. And we're trying to build a list that no one else is looking at.
No.
So
there's either a reason for it.
Yeah, so we're either going to do either geniuses or idiots.
Yes. My money's on the
latter.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But that's it for this episode, guys. I hope that helped. Please let us know in the comments. Even if you've got some questions on what we've talked about tonight.
Let us know if it made any sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a new segment for us. We're trying something different.
Yeah.
If there's anything you want us to talk about, anything you've been struggling with in games or interactions or advanced rules, let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys. Yeah. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is a completely free service that we're offering you, this rambling nonsense. So we're not going to charge you a single penny for it, so please do like, share, and subscribe.
We're generous people.
Yeah, it really helps the algorithm. But that's it from us this week. We'll say we'll be back in a couple of weeks. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but
we'll have something for you.
Yeah, I think we'll do a bit of talk about factions and starting armies.
Yes.
I think we'll do a little bit of like the best box
missions,
sets to
cards, buy. Understanding that.
Yeah, and what faction might suit how you want to play the game, that sort of thing. So from Summer and I, we will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Cheers, guys.